Hi, and welcome to White Hat versus Black Hat SEO show. My name is Josh Bashinsky on a slightly fuzzy camera. I apologize. I don't know why my Macintosh is doing this today. Oh, I have to mute myself. Here we go. Yeah, it's fuzzy on the playback too, I see. So I'm fuzzy for some reason. I mean, more than just like hair fuzzy. I'm fuzzy in resolution, and the lighting is not quite right. I don't know what's going on. But I thought it would be better. I thought actually it hides kind of the wrinkles and the gray hairs, so it makes me look younger. So I'm going to go with it. It's going to be a positive thing. And today I'm very happy. Today we have a special announcement. Today I'm very happy to announce a new addition to the White Hat versus Black Hat, a permanent addition to the White Hat versus Black Hat SEO team. He's been a long time running guest, and today we're very happy to be able to say that he's now a permanent fixture. He's our permanent Black Hat and a new co-host for the show, Clint Butler. Say hi, Clint.
Hello, how are you? Thanks for having me.
I'm doing fantastic. How are you doing today, sir?
I am doing wonderful.
I see you have your gray hat on, so we might get more moderate gray hat suggestions from yourself.
Yeah, the black hat was dirty. You got to clean it.
The black hat is dirty. It's nasty and dirty. So, okay, so that's fantastic. Thanks for joining the team there, Clint, and we hope to see you many, many weeks. And I think it's good because, although, White Hat and Black Hat are different, but we can have friendly debates, not like these Twitter debates that are going on, which I'll talk about in a second. I have a rant saved up.
Oh, geez.
I'll talk about the rant of the week for me. I'll break out the rant-hand section in a second. So before I do that, though, guys, if you're listening on YouTube, there's a chat box on your top right-hand side. If you have any SEO questions at all, if you have a site you want us to look at, if we have time, we'd be happy to do so. Please, by all means, type in your SEO question in the live chat. Put 3 asterisks in front of it or around the question so I can see it. I can easily search and find it. That way we can find it, and we answer as many as we can. So if you ask your question, make it obvious it's an SEO question for us, we'll try and get to it there at the end of the show. So before that, I'm going to break into a regular section. Usually we cover what's new in White Hat SEO and what's new in Black Hat SEO. This week, seeing that we have a resident Black Hat and our new co-host, Clint, another co-host for the show, I'm going to turn it over to Clint right away, and Clint's going to tell us all about what's new in the world of Black Hat SEO. So take it away, Clint.
Well, I guess it's probably just some things that we're testing. Everyone knows about the drive stacks. We're testing some stuff with that. We're hiding some things in the typical drive stack build that most people aren't doing. We're looking at taking advantage of those new Google websites in the Google My Business and how we can actually leverage those a little bit, both in a white hat perspective and a black hat perspective. And then we're actually
a bit more. Being the white hat, I don't know if I fully understand that.
When you go into Google My Business, you have those new Google sites.
Okay, yeah.
So those are link opportunities for us, and you just kind of have to figure out how to best take advantage of those. You can do they're designed to actually take over your website in the Google Maps listing. So if you didn't know that, so you have to be real careful. As soon as you turn those on and activate them, there's actually a box in there that says replace my website on my Google Maps listing with this new website you created from Google. Ta-da. So just another way to get you to stay on Google, I guess, is the plan behind that. So we're going to leverage that. And then we're looking at, because the local, the local guides program that they got.
Yes.
There's some interesting forums and stuff like that. And we're going to go ahead and create some personas and go in there and see what kind of drama that we can cause in the white hat community and see what happens with that. Just on a negative SEO testing perspective, see if we can actually start reporting people and stuff like that. So,
that's nasty. I recently, this whole weekend, I just started answering questions on my phone. I didn't realize that's what I was signing up for, and I'm a level 5 guide all of a sudden. I'm like, oh, I guess I'm a level 5 guide now. I don't know. I don't really do a lot of local SEO for my own town. I'm mostly doing SEO for big U.S. companies and U.S. clients. But if I ever have to do SEO for my local area, I guess that's a plus, I guess. I don't know.
Honestly, you take it as it were. There's some benefits. It's a selling point. But then again, you look in Google now, and a lot of people are local guides. So
yeah.
I'm looking at for what it is you can actually host meetups in your communities and start networking with people. And that's what we're going to use it for from the white hat perspective.
Sweet. Any other Black Hat news on the horizon?
Nothing new, unless you're, a real like a crazy hacker guy. Then you can probably. I'm sure there's some stuff, but I'm not into that. So.
Well, Holly's not here today. Holly sometimes joins us, and she is one of these, getting closer to one of these crazy hacker gals, I guess, in her case.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, she's been working on some stuff. That's been interesting. But next time she's on the show, we'll have to talk about that. So what's new in White Hat SEO? John Mueller said a hangout. I do want to share a couple little tidbits that came out of that. Of course, for those people who've watched me for a long time, they know that, I put Google suggestions in their proper place. They're not the end all and be all, but they're not to be completely ignored either. In my opinion, I think out of 5 ranks of evidence, I think they're about rank number 4. They're kind of at the bottom level, just right above random opinions from SEOs on blogs and things like that, where they just say, I think that this is a ranking factor with no evidence whatsoever. So, but that being said, he does sometimes leak some interesting stuff. So I'm just going to quickly share that and see if we can get anything out of it here. So as I said, I think I covered September 5th. September 8th here, he did have a hangout. You can see my screen, right, Clint?
Again.
Yeah, is that easier to read there? Good. So he said, have you ever noticed a website that fluctuates wildly? That's, sometimes it's spot number 2, then it's spot number 9, then it's spot number 2 or spot number 9. Or it can be page number 1 and then page number 5, page number 1, page number 5. He says that's definitely a quality problem, and it's on the edge of their quality algorithms. So that means that it's right on the edge of what they think is a threshold for quality. Let's say the quality score of being good, quote unquote, is, 4 out of 10. That means you're like 3.99 or you're like 4.01 out of 10 for your quality score, something like that. And it means you're fluctuating relative, of course, to everybody else that's on that SERP. So you definitely need, he said, you need to be better than your competitors. In fact, he said, if you only get a little bit better than your competitors, that's not going to help. You want to be way better than your competitors. And he fully admitted it was user-based. And he suggested doing a user study to see what they like about your website. And I do that all the time. You can do a user study. You can also use a piece of software called Crazy Egg, or there's plenty of other kind of heat mapping software out there that'll do a scroll map and a click map for you. That will pretty quickly tell you whether or not users are using your design or liking your design. So again, Crazy Egg is a great piece of software you could use. I recently contacted them if they have an affiliate program, or if I should have some kind of affiliate link. And so I'm working on a partnership with them. Maybe I can give you some kind of discount. So keep listening in the next few weeks, and we'll see if I can provide some kind of discount for you guys. Because I mention them so often. Like I mentioned SERPworks so often. That's my SERP overlay tool that I like to use. I don't know, Clint, I know you know about it. I'm not sure if it's your favorite, but it's my favorite. Yeah. And he emailed me and said, Josh, because you recommended me so much, I'm just going to give you your version for free. I'm like, hey, thanks. But that's not why I recommend it. I recommend it because I think the tool is really good. And Richard, the guy who runs it, I know you've been talking with him too, Clint, and seems pretty open to suggestions. And so we've brainstormed some new features that could be in there soon. So I thought that was a pretty positive thing. Okay, let's go back to this John Mueller hangout here. So this was interesting. Now, Clint, I want to get your opinion about this. I couldn't think of a way to black hat use this, but there might be a way. He says that in a URL, the plus sign, a %20, and just a normal space are all considered the same thing in a URL. So for example, xyz.com/Josh Apple is the same thing as URL is the same thing as Josh %20 Apple is the same thing in URL as Josh space Apple. They auto concatenate that to all the same thing. I was wondering if there's some like filtering link juice you could do for that, or some kind of interesting canonical stuff you could do for that. Do you have any thoughts there, Clint, or am I kind of out to lunch on that?
You could. You'd have to figure out what kind of redirect that's being handled, and then if it's a 301, you could build links to one version, keeping track of those, and if you get penalized, you just dump that version. You know what I mean? So
yeah. I thought it would be a really good link router. For example, you could build all the links to Josh %20 Apple, and then if that gets if that gets those links get toxic, you want to get rid of them right away. Then you just serve a 410 on that URL. But this URL keeps ranking, right? Because this URL and this URL, as far as Google's concerned, are the exact same URL, and they will. It's like a DNS record. They will concatenate that information. It's like a stronger canonical. Mm-hmm. So I thought that might be a great way to do some link routing. I don't know. Again, that's not the white hat in me talking. That's the secret black hat. Of course, every SEO has a little bit of black hat and white hat in them. And he said, and this is what I've suspected for a long time, that URL keywords like redapples.com, if you want to rank for red apples, don't help very much. In fact, in my opinion, they tend to hurt more than they tend to help. I don't know, Clint, what do you think about that?
That's misinformation that gets you to stop buying Exact Match because it's the easiest way to rank nowadays.
Oh, you think so? So you think, let me turn on to my face here so we can have a discussion. So you think that Exact Match URLs are still, not only are they ranking fine, the URL, the Exact Match query in the URL actually might be still a little bit of a boost?
Oh, I think so, yeah. But there's a caveat to that. It's a lot easier to fry one of those domains too. So that's where a lot of people, they want to try their old anchor text techniques on an EMD, then it gets burned, and then they started that whole campaign where they're actually going against it. One of your people, the white hats, Joy, whatever her name is, she's in the Local U with Mike Blumenthal.
Right, yeah.
They talked about that too, and how this latest update fixed Penguin or Pigeon, and now EMDs are coming back too. So, and then plus all of our testing and Black Hat is EMDs never left. It was just what you can and can't get away with doing with them now. So
you definitely have to be more careful. I see a lot of Exact Match domains that seem to get burned very easily. Mm-hmm. And they don't seem to have the benefit of any kind of brand search, because they're not a brand. They're like, if you want to be affordable, I don't know, whatever it is, like affordabledogkennels.com.
Affordable dog training, that's a brand, but dog kennels probably wouldn't be. It's a little bit harder to brand those EMD terms, but then again, it's still, they're still working. Like, even especially in local, if you look around enough, you'll see plenty of EMDs up there on the top. Plumbing City, Dentist City, CityDentist.coms, those kind of things are all still working.
Yeah, I don't know. I get a lot of customers emailing me, and they have quality problems, and they have an Exact Match domain. Again, that's not the final say, of course. That's just level 3 on my 5 levels of evidence. You know what I want to do? I'm going to test it. I'm going to make a SERP where there's a keyword that's whatever, some gibberish, and that'll be the URL, the domain, gibberish.com. Then I'll make 5 pages on some other domain that optimize for that, and we'll see where they naturally rank out. Mm-hmm. And my hypothesis is you're probably correct. The domain would probably rank highest, because it should be a whole site dedicated to that topic should be more important than pages dedicated to it.
Correct.
But we'll have to see. So I'll do a test. I'm going to make a note to me. I've recently gone and acquired some new apprentices to help me with tests and on-page stuff and some niche selection stuff. So I'm going to get my apprentice to help with this test. That's fantastic. Because I'm too busy to do all the testing myself, but still want to do testing. So that's interesting. Interesting. This was another interesting one, and you'll probably, I think you're going to have a field day with this one, Clint. You probably won't agree with this one either, but that's fine. John Mueller did give a plug for the Moz spam score. He said it's not the end-all and be-all, and he said that it's not what Google uses, but he said, and I quote, a lot of smart people work for Moz, and that, maybe SEO should take a look at that spam score, and maybe it would be useful to SEOs. So I don't know. I use it as kind of an indication that maybe some of the links are vaguely spammy and somewhat ignored. Like if the spam score is 1 out of 17, I'm like, nah. If the spam score is like 10 out of 17, I'm like, well, they can't be that wrong. Some of those links have got to be spammy, and I've got to take a look at that PA and TF and be a little bit leery about it. What do you think about that?
I think because Moz's backlink database is too small, it's entirely too easy to gain any of their metrics. So until they fix that, then it's good to look at. It kind of gives you, if you saw a 10, then obviously you're going to go take a closer look at it.
Right.
But you're probably going to take a closer look at it using Majestic or Ahrefs.
Yeah, yeah, all the tools, and then you got to use all the tools, and then they're each giving you a partial view of this thing, and then in the middle there is somewhere in the middle is the truth.
Somewhere is the truth, right? So, we talked to them at SMX Events, and Moz says they are going to update their Backworks database, but until they do, it's it's another tool just to put in the toolbox. But whether you're smart or not for using it, I guess it just depends on how much you trust them.
Yeah, it's not the end all and be all, and it's kind of funny that on these John Mueller Hangouts, tons and tons of people come on there and ask John Mueller about how to get a better page authority, or what he thinks about page authority, or if he does this, will this diminish his page authority? And John Mueller's like, I don't know. Like that has nothing to do with Google's rankings. It's Moz's metric, and it's kind of sad and kind of funny at the same time how and it kind of good for Moz. Their brand is so strong that people think they're the gospel in SEO, and that what they talk about is synonymous with Google SEO and rankings. So it's good for Moz, I guess. Their branding is on point for sure. Okay, so John Mueller did mention that they tell something as a brand based on how you search for it. So if you want to build a brand, there's been a lot of talk about entity stacking and things like that. John Mueller's take on that was, if you want to be a brand, it's based on how they search for it. So if no one searches for your URL name, your brand name, and clicks on you predominantly, then that's going to be a problem. And he also did mention specifically Wikipedia entries, and then Google My Business, and then any other kind of official like Yelp, Amazon, any kind of big website that lists you. Just make sure you are exactly the same. So the address, the phone number, the business name, down to the comma and the period in front of limited and after limited, or Inc. or whatever it is, have to be exactly the same for their algorithms to figure it out that, oh, you are this entity. That would be the white hat way of building entities. Of course, there's a black hat way of doing it.
Yeah, you could plug those searches, those brand whatever keyword searches into like a PandaBot or crowdsearch.me. Well, crowdsearch.me if you want to neg SEO somebody, but
right.
And then that'll help build that traffic and establish that kind of branding inside of Google a little bit. It won't do much for rankings, but it'll actually send in the signals that you need.
Right. It could cement you in the sales funnel where you want to be, either in the top end of the sales funnel or the lower end of the sales funnel, if they know what your brand is, what your product is, and kind of who you are and what you do.
Right. And I ran some of those, and I think the only benefit that we saw from just doing brand keyword type searches is when we got a little bit of search volume, kind of nailed that into the auto suggest a little bit. And then inside of the AdWords tool, after you run that, check it out before and after, and you'll see that AdWords actually picks you up what your site's about differently based off of those brand searches that you were manipulating.
Sweet. Okay, and finally, the last thingamajigger here. Okay, so finally, John Mueller says it is way more than content. He's asked, what was ranking. He was asked by kind of a white hat guy. Well, John, I updated my content and it's still not ranking. Yeah, I love these guys who come on there. And John Mueller said the obvious, dude, it's way more than content. In my opinion, quality is a huge ranking algorithm. That's kind of what John Mueller was hinting at, that quality is a huge, but I mean, supplementary reaffirming content, Google My Business, phone, local phone is really important for local. There's they have all kind of reaffirming signals that check each other. Like if you want to rank for Chicago, then you better have a Chicago phone number, that kind of a thing. I thought it was very interesting to kind of think of it that way, that all of your signals need to say that you should rank for that kind of stuff in that kind of area. So that is the what's new in white hat versus black hat SEO section. Now let's move on to the next segment, and that next segment for our show today is going to be the rant hand segment. I have a little rant built up that I'd like to mention. So let me find it on my Twitter here. I could find it on my Twitter, or maybe I should not find it on my Twitter. I'm not sure. Let me see here. So Rand Fishkin today tweeted out that he asked anyone if he thought that disavowing links still helps. And I almost had a conniption fit because he should know, he should very well know that, in my opinion, disavowing links doesn't help and has never helped. As you can see in my tweet there, I said both you and Marie should know there has never been any direct evidence that disavowing helps rankings. There's been plenty of incidental evidence that maybe you'll go up. There's been more incidental evidence that your rankings will probably go down. And I have single variable tests showing that it either deranks the site, the page. If you recall my recent disavow test I did, I actually got I didn't limit the ranking of the page. I de-indexed the page by disavowing a link. And then a few weeks later, it came back. So at least it was deranked for at least a few weeks. So it's a good way to negative SEO yourself, the disavow tool. And I disavowed millions of links in that negative SEO test that we did, where you pointed hundreds of thousands, about 143,000 links from GSA you pointed to this test page. And it went to #1, was there for 4 days, then was de-indexed for 3 or 4 weeks, then came back strong at #1 after some A/B testing and stayed there strong for months. And I've disavowed, thousands and thousands of links to see if I can change that ranking at all or do anything, and nothing has happened at all. Now that experiment is not done by any stretch of the imagination. I need to very forensically go into all the tools and every link I can find. I'm testing it in stages to see what will disavow. Like I'm testing all the links Google shows. That didn't seem to disavow anything. Now I'm testing all the links that Ahrefs gives me. That didn't disavow anything. Didn't make any effect. Now I'm going to go into the Search Console links and all the Majestic links, any links I can find, and I'm going to throw them into the disavow file and see if that does anything. But so as far as and these are single variable tests on SERPs where nothing else is going on. They're completely garbage pages with no traffic, nothing else is going on, no other links are being built, etc. So as far as I can see, the disavow file does absolutely nothing except for maybe derank your page for a short time. I find it kind of ironic in that I did a Whiteboard Friday and I took a lot of lumps for it. So here's my rant portion. Here's Josh's whiny. Here's Josh being a whiny little bitch. I'm going to be a whiny little bitch for a few minutes. And then I took a lot of lumps for doing that disavow gate Whiteboard Friday a few years ago on Rand Fishkin's, on his network, on Moz. And I showed that, hey guys, you don't have any direct evidence the disavow file works. And Marie Haynes was bitching and moaning at that time because she was selling a disavow feature and she was like the queen of disavowing at that time. And I kind of told her, I kind of put her to task. And I said, listen, I think you're selling snake oil. And she did not take kindly to that, as you can imagine. And that's largely where the fallout came from. And now she's changed her tune and she says she's amazed at how many SEOs are still advocating spending time and money on disavowing. That's kind of rich coming from her when she was the disavow queen a few years ago. And then she had to very, very quietly announce that, oh, maybe Josh was right and maybe disavow isn't worth doing anymore. Dude, it was never worth doing. You never had the evidence to prove it was worth doing. You've been selling snake oil this whole time. I tried to warn you years ago and you effing bombed me. And there's still people out there who are pissed off at me for that. In fact, I was supposed to do an SEMrush talk. And I noticed a lot of tweets out there at SEMrush before they canceled it saying Josh Machynski is terrible from these SMX white hats who think the disavow worked and did something and sold it, who I threw under the bus. And they, I don't know if there's any causal relationship there, cause correlation, I'm not really sure. But there's a whole bunch of tweets from those numbnuts to SEMrush not to have me on there. And then suddenly SEMrush mysteriously canceled, citing there was a contradiction in times for some of the participants, to which I emailed all 2 participants. And they said, no, I had no problem in time. So something's a little fishy there. But so I'm still taking lumps from this. This is the right hand section. I'm still taking lumps from that disavow gate video that I made to try and help people. And these fucking people actually have the gall to say, I'm amazed people are still thinking the disavow tool works. And that's gonna piss you off. Okay, sorry. Rant 10 section closed. Clint, do you have a comment on my rant? What do you think about that?
I've seen the disavow tool work and I've seen it not work. It's really all how you apply it. I think if you Chris Semper over at Link Research Tools with his Link Detox and some of the stuff that he's doing over there it would indicate to me that Disavow is working as it applied, and how Chris teaches it and how his tools are leveraging it. I've used it to recover my own sites and other people's sites, but on top of that, I can't say that it specifically was what did it, because we also did the outreach to, hey, can you remove that crap? Or we built new links on top of the old ones. And so you really have to, I see where your point is, where you're saying I have this page and I've put these disavow links and it did shit. But then again, I've seen it where it works, but we were doing other stuff on top of it too to kind of counteract the penalty that we had going on. So,
right.
I think it's one of those questions where it's going to go on forever. And really, I think in the end of the day, the disavow tool was a great way to teach the machine what people are considering spammy links.
Exactly.
And that's what it was used for, to fine tune Panda, Penguin, and Pigeon. So.
Yeah, no, exactly. And that's the thing that I will fully admit. Of course, we don't know. I mean, it might only work in conjunction with other things, and it might actually do something, or maybe it does nothing. We have no way of separately testing it. I mean, we do, and I have, but I have no way of knowing. Like, for example, someone responded to that Twitter, that the original person who tweeted at Mary Haynes, Marie Haynes, tweeted at me and said, no, dude, it really, honestly, I think it works, because I had a site, it was tanked, it was not ranking at all. I disavowed, I had some hacked pages on my site, he says, and some really crappy porn links pointing at that hacked page. I disavowed the links pointing to the hacked page, and all of a sudden, a couple days later, there was a miraculous recovery after months of being buried. And I admit that's awfully coincidental, but I've seen that as well, where I have clients working in the porn industry. I know, far be it from a white hat to work in a nasty industry, but anybody who pays me, I'll do SEO for you, more or less. I draw. I should qualify that. I draw the line at like the KKK or something.
It's too late.
Like, I'm not helping anybody like that. But anything like porn, whoop-de-doo. You know, Ted Cruz likes a porn tweet. I don't care. Fine, I'll still do SEO for you. I mean, I wouldn't do SEO for Ted Cruz just on principle, but not because he likes porn. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. He tweeted at me and said, so he had these hacked pages and he disavowed those links, and there seemed to be a miraculous recovery. And I'm like, still, as you just pointed out, Clint, this is in the wild. This is not a single variable tests. That's why I put single variable testing at the top of the heap when it comes to testing. So again, all I can say is based on the evidence that I have. And maybe the disavow works, period, and I just haven't been able to test to find it. I doubt it, though, because my testing shows otherwise. Maybe it works in conjunction with deleted links, possibly. If you're deleting links, you're already hurting your rankings. Maybe if you go too far, you're already throwing the dice. So you might as well fill out one, I guess. You know, like it comes down to risk mitigation. You're already rolling the dice when you're deleting links and doing drastic moves like that. So maybe you should do it. And if you have hacked pages and there's like links pointing from porn sites at you, sure, disavow those. I don't think that's going to help you rank for anything non-porn related. And if you don't want to rank for porn, disavow all the porn links. I don't think that's going to hurt you at all. But I've definitely tested it on a single variable page, and I still maintain in my rant hand section that the disavow, as far as I'm concerned, doesn't do anything positive. Like the myth of the general, I have spammy links and I'm going to disavow them and magically get my ranking back. I call that a myth. I say myth busted. I say there's no evidence to support it, direct evidence to support that, single variable evidence to support it. I've got single variable evidence to support that actually it will derank you for a few days or do nothing at all. But the negative SEO test that we did, Clint, I'm still going to have to actually get some time to fix those links and go for that procedure.
I think what we'd probably have to do for that again is do another test. Make another test site, another page that we neg SEO, probably just 50,000 links, and then get with Chris Semper over at Link Research Tools and test his method out, where we pull those out of the tool that I use to build the links, put them right into Link Detox, and then have his Link Detox. It's basically a notifier
Mhm.
which I think was really the key. Is he's notifying Google that he's disavowed these, and he's saying, "Hey, Google, I need you to go over there and look at them." And I think that's probably the difference maker versus someone who just drops, a whole bunch of links in the disavow tool and then has to wait for Google to figure it out, which could take anywhere from, a week to a month or a year. So
Right.
I think that's really probably the best way to test that in a single variable thing is you're going to have to use a tool, and it's probably going to have to be Link Detox's notification tool at Google.
And Link Detox is flagging those backlink pages for indexing, is what you're saying.
Well, what it does is you do the link detox, and then that thing says, hey, these are your bad links. And then you build your disavow tool, plug it in, and then he's got a tool attached to it that notifies Google. And his testing is showing that it's 3 days from the time that you notify Google of your new disavow to the result, because he's going to Google and pinging them using whatever Google magic he's got in the back end there and saying, hey, I updated this.
Well, I can concur with 3 days, because in my one link, one page test, I disavowed it, nothing happened. I re-indexed the backlink page, 3 days, de-indexed. That page was de-indexed after 3 days. So it was 3 days.
Yeah, I think that's probably the key to getting to knowing for sure if the disavow is doing anything other than just de-indexing a bunch of bad sites. Are they crediting you with saying, hey, these are the bad sites, these are the bad backlinks, and then it de-indexes them, and then it says, all right, thanks for doing that. Now we're going to lift the penalty off for you? Or are they just taking those links and saying, all right, thanks for doing that, now suck an egg? So I guess that's really the trick to figure out.
No doubt. So more testing needs to be done, but in my opinion, to end this rant hand section, I think it's not worth doing. I would spend money on something else first. And quite frankly, a lot of people misdiagnose thinking they have a linking problem and think the disavow will be a magic solution to fix it. You should properly diagnose what your SEO problem is to begin with. In my humble opinion, as I glow like a ghost as the sun comes out here, geez, I really got to get a proper studio here, especially considering how white I am. Anyway, so let's move on to the SEO questions section. If you guys have SEO questions, let me see. Charlie asks, hey, can I take a look at your site? I said, sure, share it. Share your site, maybe we can take a look at it. Someone asked, Supriya, I'm sorry, Supriya, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. She says, please review hapido.com. She really needs some help. Okay, I will try to do so. Let's take a look at this thing here and see what this site is about. And while this loads here, I'll answer some more questions. Let's see here. I'll put this in the chat here too if you want to take a look while I'm talking. You can give your black hat perspective. Steve says he's sitting in for Chase. Thanks, Steve. There are 29 people watching. Please hit the thumbs up. Thanks very much. Don't you can sit here all day long if you want, and block Congress. Block our Congress. That didn't sound quite right. Connor Tracy said, mobile interstitial pop-up. We know they said it was implemented, but is it really having any effect? This is a great thing where maybe this is a perfect example for where Clint might probably disagree with me. So again, I work on 5 levels of evidence. The first level is the best. The 5th is the worst. However, just having some evidence, however anecdotal, is better than a wild guess. And so the best evidence I have here is from Google, the 4th rank, the 2nd worst rank, and they said don't do it. So whenever I see someone doing it, I'm not going to do it. Especially, I'm going to tell them not to do it. Especially if it's annoying the user. If whatever you're doing, I know they're watching clicks, and I know there's a quality score. So if your pop-up is annoying users, if they can't use the site after it pops up and they have to click it off, I hate that. Users hate that. And I would strongly recommend you use a little pop-up in the bottom right, or like the bottom like 20 pixels, like kind of like a footer where it says, hey, join our newsletter, and they can scroll and they can still use the website. That's perfectly fine. But the interstitial is, I think, annoying, and I would avoid it. Just that's risk mitigation, right? I have some evidence to suggest that you're going to have ranking problems for it. So if we're having a site that's not ranking, I'm now going to fix every possible thing out of the 5 levels of evidence that could be a ranking detriment. That's how I would progress with it. Clint, what do you think about that? Would you have a different view?
I wasn't even paying attention.
Okay, good. So that means I win.
I
finally win an argument. Yay. Okay.
Steven. The interstitial stuff for me is, when the Google's favorites, the 800-pound gorillas, New York Times, all those guys, Washington Post, Yelp, all those people, you can clearly see that they're still using those. You can clearly see a lot of the big local preferred sites, especially in Google News, they're still using those. So if that was the case, then, I'm going to call bullshit. I do think it is a usability issue, though, and you could probably hurt yourself if you have, there's nothing worse than going to a website on mobile and you can't close the damn pop-up and you got to go back out and then come back into it so the pop-up doesn't come up again. And that might be actually hurting you. So it's really just kind of benefit versus reward in that case is, if it's not getting you any opt-ins, then why have it in the first place? You know what I mean? So
yeah.
But if it's getting you all your opt-ins, then leave it and screw what Google thinks about mobile. Just get your opt-ins.
That's actually very wise to bring up. You're totally right there. I mean, if you have this thing but no one's signing up, well then get rid of it. It's completely no benefit and possibly some drawback. But at the same time, you're totally right. If you're getting 1,000 signups a day and that's how you're making all your money, well then we got to weigh the good with the bad, and so then maybe you should definitely keep it. Every SEO decision ultimately at the end of the day is a business decision like any other business decision. And the risk and reward, the ROI always has to factor into what's going on. For example, I think speed is a big ranking factor in my personal opinion. And I think that the first time to first byte is a huge ranking factor. I think time to usage is a big ranking factor. And I will tell people, I would literally spend $1,000 a month. If it takes you $1,000 a month to get the proper server and the proper DNS and the proper design to be super uber fast, if you're making like $5,000 a month, I would do it if you live and die on your Google rankings, because I think speed is so that important for the algorithm. For example, some people ask me, should I convert to HTTPS? And I'm like, yeah. But having a faster speed is way more important, in my opinion, than HTTPS. I don't know what you think, Clint. I'd be happy to hear about it in a second. But I think speed is way more important than HTTPS. Like order of 10 factors more important for SEO rankings. So if it means you're going to convert to HTTPS, but your speed's going to go down a little bit, I would never do it. Do you agree? What do you think about that?
Well, if you know what you're doing, you can actually get that, so it doesn't really affect speed all that much.
True.
Most people will just, they switch over and ta-da, oh shit, now my site's slower because they didn't do everything right. So just if you know what you're doing, then go ahead and do it. If you don't know what you're doing, then get someone who does do it and can fix that for you. But what I do for my clients is, we balance out, what is the trust signal that we want to portray. And if in dentists, for instance, they're collecting patient forms or getting names, numbers, phone numbers on their sites. So we recommend, hey, you go ahead and get HTTPS, get a little bit of, the love out of the browser so that they know, hey, it's secure because it says it's secure kind of thing. But a restaurant who doesn't have it and they've got a lot of traffic already, do they really need it? I don't think so. So we, just kind of balance out what you want to do. My host provides it for free through WHM and cPanel now. So hooked to that, Let's Encrypt. So all my new sites, all of them that I make are all HTTPS. But so I don't have to worry. But I don't have to worry about knowing if it's going to be a speed effect because I'm not switching from one to the other, and I don't have to worry about redirects from backlinks and all that stuff either. So.
Right. Okay, nice, sweet. Okay. Next question here. Stephen Buchanan also asks, do my apprentices wear wizard hats? That's a good question. There's a special outfit to be an apprentice. I'm not going to tell you what it is. It might have, leather. Who knows what it could be, but no, I'm just kidding. There's no outfit to be one of my apprentices. Somebody asks, regarding NAP data, is CA versus California an issue, or should it be exactly the same thing? I'm not really sure what NAP data is. Do you know off the top of your head what he's referring to? I'm drawing a blank on that.
Name, address, phone number for local citations. So our general rule of thumb is for our clients, we're controlling everything through Yext, so it's all the exact same. And then if we intentionally put it out there, it's the exact same. But Google is smart enough to know that CA in California is the same thing.
Yes.
But you don't want to just go out there and haphazardly do it. So if you're building your citations, just pick one and then put that same thing in your schema, and then you're good to go. If someone else accidentally builds one or it has to because of the platform spell out California, then it's not going to kill you. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah, no, I would agree entirely. Whatever you use, you have to be consistent across. I think in a previous Hangout, John Mueller mentioned even with abbreviations like that. Yeah. So you do have to be consistent. It doesn't matter what you start with, which one you pick, because Google for rankings is smart enough to interchange them. But in terms of them for identifying your entity, I would personally make it the exact same thing.
Yeah, there's a lot of people though that scare the shit out of people and say, "Oh, just because you're using STE versus spelling out sweet, you're messing up your stuff." And that's, it's not true. If Google can rank 1 billion websites, then I'm sure they can figure out that sweet is an abbreviation for sweet, or STE is an abbreviation for sweet. So, but like I said, when you're doing it intentional to have the same thing, like Josh said, and then whatever you're using as your default, that has to be in your schema, and it has to be in relation to whatever Google says your address is. So if Google says your address is road spelled out or RD, then that's RD is the one that you should be using, because Google has recognized that as the official address for that location.
Yeah, no, definitely. TA asks, are there any SEO benefits to using a CDN for a smaller site with local traffic only? In my opinion, no, probably not. If you're a local site, there used to be an old SEO rule that for local SEO, you did get a little bit of a boost if you used a local server. So just in case that's true, if you can get good, if you can get good hosting in your area that is also cheap and fast, then I would do it just in case it is a ranking factor. And you could always drive down to their offices and scream at them if something goes wrong. There's always an added benefit to that, instead of them being located halfway across the world and you only have a contact form, you can't even call them. But again, that's just like if it is cheap enough and fast, then yes, go ahead. But quite frankly, it needs to be fast. It doesn't matter what it is or where it is. It needs to be blisteringly fast, in my opinion, is what it needs to be.
It needs to be faster than your competition. So if you're on a cheap ass HostGator shared hosting account, then plug in Cloudflare, take advantage of the built-in services there. They're connected to the Google Cloud servers as well, so Google's serving up your images too, and that'll just make it a little bit faster and give you that. Maybe it's a bump that you need to get from number 3 to number 1 in local. So
right,
and Cloudflare is free, so why not plug that in and try it out to support your host.
No kidding. No, definitely it needs to be fast. And finally, Keith Evan asks, what are the top quality issues? Okay, that's a big question. Quite frankly, there's 2 schools of thought, and I am going to lean to the second one. The first school of thought is that there's kind of a static set of issues, like ads above the fold, like misspellings in your text, static things that you can modify and you can edit. I think that it is more along the lines of user clicks. I think it's all user-based. I think they're tracking where users go everywhere. And so it's totally different per website. I've seen websites with a terrible design and are fairly slow, but have really good user metrics because people really want the information on those pages. And I've seen sites that are really fast with a great design, but they don't have a very good quality score because users are being picky and they don't really care. You're not providing, you're not wowing them, you're not selling them properly. And so the top quality issues are conversions, are micro and macro conversions. Did they get the information they want? Did they proceed on to the next step? Did they proceed on to the next step? Did you terminate the search? If you terminate the search session is when someone goes into Google and says, top red apples 2017. They get your page. Did they go, and they go back and they click another page? Or did they refine their search? Top red apples in January. You have to stop. You have to terminate that search from going on. That's my opinion. That's what I've been able to kind of glean from the 5 levels of evidence. You have to stop that that search from going on. That is the biggest factor. If you can do that, Google will definitely see it. And I think for me, those are the quality issues. But Clint, I'm curious, my new co-host, what is your opinion on this?
I think quality is kind of a buzzword. You know, what you think is quality and what I think is quality are clearly two different things. And then you ask, you know, what does Google think is quality? So I think that brings us back to just doing your foundational on-page SEO and getting that right. And if you've done that, then you've created a quality website for the algorithm, which brings in now Google sending you traffic, and then that leads to everything that Josh just said, where user metrics and engagements, conversions, and stuff like that stuff matters. So, you know, what are the top quality issues still holding? It's the basic fundamentals of on-page SEO, which is the foundation for everything that we do. And if you are not good at that, then you better get good at it, or you're going to get your ass kicked here pretty soon. Because as links become even more so about quality versus quantity, on-page SEO is going to matter even more.
I definitely agree. There are a bunch of I don't even call them, I don't want to call them technical issues, not even quality issues, like duplicated content, thin content, garbage content, like profile pages, just pages that they don't need, they can't make sense of, or they don't need to index, or they can't tell that they're important, or anybody ever would want to read such a page. They do filter that on two levels, on the indexing level through the Caffeine program, and from the live sort, and when you do a search and they push 1,000 pages back to show you. So that, some people call that a quality issue, and that can be a quality issue. You know, or your speed is too slow. You got technical issues that turns into a kind of a quality issue. So there are those kinds of issues. But for me, quality is completely dominated by user clicks, and they're watching all those clicks. Okay, now we're almost done the show, but someone earlier on did ask if we would take a look at their site, and so I will do very quickly take a look. And I hope they don't mind if I share the site, because that's what I would do to give some diagnostics on it. So, oh, that's not what I want. Those are the lyrics to a U2 song I'm learning. That's not what I wanted to show you. I mean, I don't care that you know I'm learning a U2 song, but okay, so here's the site here, and I put it into SERPworks. I did a site colon search. It's a very small site, only 84 pages, and here's a main problem. I don't know what your competitors have, but I guarantee they're going to have a page authority greater than 1 and a trust flow greater than 1. So white hat SEO or black hat SEO, you're definitely going to need some link juice there. You're going to have some quality sites that are on the topic of baby food, or at the very least babies, linking to you in their main content on non-spammy pages with not a million obviously purchased links. That would be obviously step 1 that you'll need to do. Now, I'm trying to look to see if you rank here for anything in SEMrush. Natural baby food is one of your queries. Okay, so if I just do an apples to apples comparison here on actually google.com, this is what people get for natural baby food. And so you're going to have to be on par with what these folks have. And let's just take a couple seconds for this to populate here. And you're going to just get a rough idea of what you should be getting here. But for natural baby food, we've got a featured snippet. And so there's a special way to do that. If you want to get a featured snippet, email me. I know the secret way of doing it. There's a number of them. Clint knows as well. You can email either me or Clint. There's also questions that you could try to rank for. There's all kinds of supplemental kind of SEO ways to rank. But if you want the basic, 30,000 foot view of what you need to do, well, okay, so just look. Let's do so Wholesome baby foods. They have 538 foreign domains, 68 PA, and 54 trust flow. That's actually fairly impressive, right? They're ranking for millions of keywords, and they have over a million visitors a month. These are what your competitors kind of have. You got Amazon is in there. You got to compete with them. Mama Natural, Mom Tricks, baby food, Wellness Mama, motherhood, baby duck, a page. So you've got some stiff competition to to deal with here. I don't even see really a hole. This seems to be the closest competitor with homemade baby food recipes. Everybody else you're competing with is a page on a big site, a huge site. So again, it's going to be difficult. You definitely got to have some social proof, some people talking about you, and you're in luck. In your niche, there's going to be a lot of people who do want to talk on social about your stuff. People love babies, so you should definitely be finding your audiences. You should be talking here. Almost everyone here, I bet, is going to have a Facebook presence. Yeah, just about everybody does. You're going to need some social proof going on. You're going to need referring domains. You're going to need a PA and a trust flow. And, you know, when you start to exceed a PA of 30 and a trust flow of 27, that's when, you know, Google might decide to start trying you out to rank for this page here. But as we can see here, you are a far way from those kinds of stats, unfortunately. And so you're just too new. You don't have good on-page SEO done. You don't have H1s. You don't seem to have a structured way of doing the on-page SEO. If I search here, you have natural baby food in your title. That's not a great title either. That's your title. This is not incentivizing anyone to click. This is not going to help them go to your site either, right? Again, you know, ask an SEO for advice on the show. He's going to start being brutally honest, so I apologize. Natural baby. So okay, so here's another problem. Natural baby food. The keyword happens once on your page. That is probably not going to be anywhere near enough for you to rank for that. So again, we have on-page SEO issues. When I go to this page, I see happy, healthy babies. My eyes are kind of drawn by this information here, to tell you the truth. And I kind of miss this information here, which is probably where you want me to click. This information here should totally have more visual prominence than this information here. Because at the end of the day, you're selling baby food, I take it. And I should be seeing this stuff to click on it. This should be bigger and more prominent than this stuff here. So if you put a tool like Crazy Egg on here and you bought some traffic, it'll show you what people do, where they click. You know, did they see this? Did they see this? That's all part and parcel of your quality score. And it's definitely going to be important for you to rank. And all this other stuff, there's too many options here. And it's almost too visual based. I need some more definite cues as to where I'm supposed to click and where I'm supposed to go. But again, that's just my personal opinion. If you put Crazy Egg on here, it's going to show you where they're clicking. It's going to show you where they scroll. It's going to show you if anybody at all ever sees this content down here, or if they just scroll to here and go nope and leave the site. That's definitely not what you want to do. So there's some suggestions from my end there, Clint. Did you have anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, the on page is horrible. It looks visually cool. I like where she's going with it. She just needs some more. Yeah. Specifically the R products, because that's where your selling point starts. Exactly. And then you get into the actual product listings. The product listings are actually pretty decent. They're optimized okay. They could use a little bit more love, but I think that she did a good job there. But the R products page and the home page need some on-page work. This PHP is looking for the CMS that you're using. Looks like she probably custom coded this. Let's know, or Bootstrap. So you need to adjust those H1s and use those for sure. And then on the products page, add some, because she's targeting on the product page baby food products. And Google India is actually showing her site for baby food products when you're doing the site search. It's the right page, but it just doesn't have enough information to compete with the other sites on that particular search term. Because if you look, her conversion is either buying online or buying on Amazon or buying at the store. So she's got the options there.
Right.
But she's not really doing a good job of conversions, like you said, and telling people what actually to do. So until you get to a specific product page, but I'm not going to be, you know, who's going to be looking specifically for banana blueberry puree, for an example. In India, they're going to look for baby food, and you're missing the direction, the purpose and direction. What is it? What's it about? And what's in it for me? And I come to the site, and it's not answering that on those two main pages.
Yeah, these product pages, like you said, I agree. These product pages aren't bad. I kind of like them. Typically you'd want the conversion buttons here to be on the right-hand side, but the way that I'm assuming her readers are going to be left to right readers. I'm not sure because again she's in India, but I think the readers are going to be left to right readers. It is in English, and that is a left to right language. So, but the way it works actually, the design psychology of this is that they're going to see this. Their eyes are going to go to this immediately over to here, and then it's going to go down to here, and it's going to round back up and end here. It's going to go kind of a circle. So that's my opinion, but again, that's just my opinion. We would need to install Crazy Egg on this to see where the clicks end up. Where are they looking at? Where are they going? How far do they scroll down? Do they bother reading this at all? Is this helping at all whatsoever? You know, if we remove this stuff, the page would load faster and they'd have less things to do or think about other than buying, which is what they want to do. These buttons should definitely be bigger and stand out more. I don't think they should be the complementary blue color. They should be a color that's not used anywhere else on this page that should stand out. So you can't help but not see these buttons. I did throw her her page into my testing tool, the one that I like to use, webpagetest.org. It's my favorite. I know, Clint, you have your own one you like to use. This one I like to use because it breaks down where the slowness is happening. Look, it took over 2 seconds to get a DNS connection to find out what this page is about, and it took another 2.7 seconds to process the HTML. And look at this, just to your point here about the Bootstrap CSS, 8 seconds before that thing fully loaded. 8 full seconds. So that's just terrible. So obviously you need to up that. You need to improve that speed. And this happens all the time. You know, people and designers. It's not the designer's fault because it never used to be so. I mean, fast website has always been cornerstone of good design in my opinion, and good design in my rather somewhat elitist opinion. Good designers should have also known this is going to be too slow. I can't make the page take 8 seconds to load. It's got to be pretty and fast, right? Just like the girlfriend you wanted in high school. She has to be pretty and fast, not just pretty or not just fast. It's got to be both, right? Sorry, off-color joke. But but in this case, I mean, that's way too long. And designers don't realize how important for SEO it is anymore. And so I don't know about you, Clint, but I'm always having this battle when I'm doing consulting for clients, which is what both you and I do, among other things. But I always have to constantly tell their designer, no, dude, sorry, this has got to be faster. It's just not good enough. And they're like, well, Matt Cutt said in a video 5 years ago. I'm like, I don't care what Matt Cutt said in a video 5 years ago. I'm telling you, this needs to be faster. It takes 8 seconds to load that Bootstrap. Get off your lazy ass and trim that. You have about I don't have to have like 1 million global classes specified in the CSS that no one is calling for anywhere, right? Like how big is that CSS got to be to take 8 seconds to process it? So yeah, so I mean, but it's not really their fault because they don't realize how important for SEO it is, and they could just get away with just reusing a CSS and JS every design, but now it's super important.
Yeah, also just kind of to hope she's not feeling like you just kicked her in the groin or anything, but take it as it we're look at where your host is hosting at and where your target audience is at too. So on that tool, if there's an option and your target audience is only in India, then test it from India's perspective.
Yes. As well, so. Yes. So I tested from Denver. So I mean, I don't know who her target audience is. I'm assuming it is India because she was charging some form of, well, it wasn't U.S. currency. I guess it was rupees. I'm not sure. But something was being charged there that was different. So again, Supriya, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. Again, we don't mean to be rude in that respect or in looking at your website. And there are portions of it I like. I like the kind of baby colors. I like that. That's kind of a cool. I mean, it's right on point. It's right on brand. There's a lot of good stuff, and I like the product pages too. You get the nutrition information. You're giving good information people are going to like. There's just some basic SEO stuff that needs to be done. So contact me, contact Clint, and we'd be happy to help you out a little bit further. So thanks a lot, guys. That's been White Hat versus Black Hat SEO show. I would like to sign off now. And before I do so, I'd like to give you our contact information. Again, if you have any SEO questions at all, both Clint and I would be very, very happy to service you. That didn't sound quite right. You can email me at joshbashinsky@gmail.com. You can follow me at Twitter at joshbashinsky, and you can watch more videos like this where we give free SEO tips, tricks, advice, experimental results, secret leaks at youtube.com/jbashins. That's JBACHYNS. Clint, if you'd be so kind, sir, why don't you give us out your contact info too?
Typically, the best place to find me is on Skype, clint.a.butler, or you can email me at info@digitallear.com, and then that'll hook you up.
So it's digital. How do you spell Lear?
EER, digital EER.
.com?
Yep.
Okay, I put you in the description there, so both our emails are there. And we'd be happy to answer SEO questions. We do this for a living, so if you send us 3-page email, we might say, hey, dude, you might have to pay us a little bit to answer this, or maybe not. I don't know. Maybe Clint's more easy with his time than I am. I'm not sure. But if you have a quick question, I'm sure we'd be happy to help you out. So again, thanks very much. I'd like to wrap it up. Clint, do you have any final message for the day?
I don't know. I think we went over a lot today and just kind of highlighted how the white hat versus black hat concept is actually intermeshed, and it's really not about which hat you wear. It's about how much money you're making. So,
right, that's true. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much what hat you wear. It's how much money you're making, how well you're ranking sites, and how well you're doing for your customers. And that's what we like to do. So I hope you enjoyed our white hat versus black hat show, the free SEO stuff. Tune in next week where we'll have another show, and maybe we'll have some special guests. You never know. And thanks very much for joining us, and good luck in the SERPs. See you later, guys.
bye.